All right, good morning everyone. It is April 25th of 2024 and this is your market review. You can see here today that we are getting quite a bit of pressure in the SPXL and in the Qs. Lots of earnings coming through right now, and some of these numbers are just not meeting expectations. And if we look at what we have here, you can see that the ETFs here are gapping down quite a bit. The only one really holding up is TNA, which is the IWM, but everything else just flat out getting annihilated. If you look at the price action here within the ETFs, you can see how we kind of have this run, rest, run pattern going. And now we're in that rest phase. So now that we have some unexpected expectations met, maybe we will get this next run down here to 111.54 in SPXL, and the same with TQQQ, the 48.85. For those of you who are new, I like to teach people how to trade these ETFs. They by far are available, I believe, for the majority of the people who self-direct their account. And because of that, I really want people to learn how to manage these accounts better than most of the companies that so-called offer that service. I really believe that if you're here watching these videos, then you have that desire to learn how to do that. And so my desire is to teach those people who want to learn how to do it. So these are the four ETFs that we trade long. So what happens if the market goes belly up? Well, then what we can do, we can go to this base bearish, and these are the four ETFs that you can trade if the market is selling off. These are the inverses of the four ETFs that I just showed you. All right, enough of that. I know why people are here. You are here to get some analysis as far as what I see in the market. So let's just start with the ETFs here. This going into the month had a potential 2-2 rev down, and we have not reached target yet at 108.41. And I know that a lot of people look at this and they think, well, let me get this to an OBS screen here. Getting back to SPXL, sorry about that. If we look at the big picture here, we knew we had a 2-2 rev set up here for the month, or possible 2-2-2 continuation up. The only thing that we can do now is to go 3 to make this green. Now, I'm not saying that it can't happen, but I'm saying that right now we have 1, 2, 3 days left in the month. So the probability of this going green, probably not so good. And if you look down into the month, based upon how I trade here, I use a 10 moving average and a 2 moving average to kind of give me a direction of the market, or the trend of the market. And you can see how we've gotten extended here on the 10 here for the month. And so we are now below, we crossed over, the 2 crossed over the 10 here for the week, and we are now kind of pulling back. And so when I see this kind of action, and it all started back through here when we crossed over, this is kind of a red flag for me, and signaling that we have a potential of not only coming back to the 10 here, but also crossing. And so when we got this bar right here, this was a game on. We got this bar where we tried to go higher and we got slammed, and I mean slammed to the downside. And then we just kind of paused, and then we ran again, and then we paused, and then we ran again. And so this right here, this phase, these last 3 days, in my opinion, these were the pause. And so what's happening here is that we now have this fresh crossover back to the downside. And if you're looking at your targets, it would be 111.54. Well, why 111.54? If you go back up here into the week, you're going to see that the low for last week was 111.54. So it only makes sense to target that area first, right? Well, what if we take out 111.54? Well, then we would move over here to the left and we would see who's up next. And in this case, it would be 107.49. So what you can do, you can come down here and you can make this 107.49. And you can see how I already have that in play right here, 107.49. The orange lines represent the week targets for me. The purple, these are my month. So I know that this chart right now, just by looking at it, that I'm below the range for the month, and I'm in the range right now for the previous week. So the goal here is to either go up to 127.10 and take it out, or to go back down and take out 111.54. And you get all that information right here on the weekly chart. And I know that because the high is 127.10 and the low is 111.54. So we have several of these ETFs setting up with that same action. TNA is the only one that really isn't doing that. And full disclosure, I have a long position in TNA because look at how choppy this is versus the Qs here where we've had this nice run and now we're pulling back. So the price action really does help you determine, or it helps me determine, where I'm getting in and where I'm getting out. Okay, so with TNA we had a 222 setup going into the month, but here's the difference. We hit target on this one, right? And the moment we hit target, buyers stepped in. Now I'm not saying that this is going to hold, because this is the same action that we just talked about. The run, the rest, the run, and the rest. And so now do we continue up here and try to retest this area, or do we go right back down? And that's the kind of price action that you have to learn how to look at. This is the only ETF gapping up today versus all these right now, which are down. Think about that. Think about that. Okay, the Qs, same price action, right? UDOW, same price action. I was actually long a position SDOW going into the morning here, and I took the money because we gapped. Look at this gap, 74.89. That's a, if you're in SDOW and you're trading these and you buy down here, I mean, for every 100 shares, you're up 30 bucks. And you've got to learn how to take the money during times like this, because when we're in the chop, this can disappear quickly. Now, here's the deal. If we come back up here, you can get back into this position. But based upon how I trade, right now, we are below the 10-day moving average. So therefore, if we get above, I can get back into this trade. Now let's talk about that for a little bit, because a lot of you are still using these intraday charts to be the first monkey on the boat. And if we are truly in a trend to the upside or to the downside, you have to understand that you do not have to be the first one in. You just have to be able to identify the trend. And so a good example of this is going back to the Qs here. Now, if you get a candle like this, obviously you're going to take some money. But what we're doing is that we're waiting patiently for this to set back up. And so we know that we have to get outside of this candle right here. And so it took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days before we got outside the bottom of this candle. But once we did that, we were rewarded, because once we broke it, we broke through the month, and then we paused, and then we ran even more. And so this is what I'm talking about. If you understand how this trend works, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days to get into this trade until we hit target down here. Because keep in mind, the Q's target right here was 52.91 right there. Okay, it was this guy right here. You can see it, kind of a white line, purple line. Probably should just do that. The purple line right here. I don't know why I had that white line in there, but this was the target. So the moment we broke through here and we hit target, you could have been done with that trade, and you would have just waited, or you could have peeled off half, 3/4, whatever you feel comfortable with, and then just waited for this to set back up. I waited for this to set back up right here. I got long for 2 days, and then yesterday my target was to hit the 10-day moving average, which was at around 55. I think it hit 55.91. I got off the bus right here. Why? Because we did not get above the 10, and in my opinion, when we have a trend down and down on the week, this right here is the pause before we have the potential to move back down. I hope you guys understand that, and if not, you need to leave some comments either here or on Twitter. All right, so let's get to the actual watch list that I have here. Not a lot has changed, because here's the deal. If you truly are a strat trader and you're basing it on certain time frames, which I base upon the month, the week, and the day by the, then a lot of this isn't going to change. And you can see right here, Airbnb, we are trying to reverse and possibly go 3 right here to 169.48. But look at what we have coming up, and I want you to catch this too. Most stocks do not fall into earnings. They usually are defended at key levels. And so what you're waiting for is for the stock to report earnings, like IBM. Let's look at IBM here. Great example. We closed at 184.10 yesterday. We had earnings. And what I mean is, look at how this stock was defended for the entire week right here. Now, we waited until earnings, and guess what? IBM missed. And you can see now that we are gapping down to 167.15. This is the effect after earnings, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to come down here and then get bought back up. So basically, you are waiting for the reaction of earnings. I was short going into earnings, and I was able to get my money down here. I already closed this position. I got lucky with it, and the reason I stayed in it is because the big picture told me that we had a 1-2-2 setup here where we potentially could take out this 178.75. We touched it, but we never took it out. And now, guess what? We took it out at 167.49, and guess where your next target is? It's this guy right here, 157.89. So if you're watching this, you're waiting patiently for this to set up on the daily so that you can get your butt into this trade, and hopefully, if the market cooperates, you can trade it back down to here. But right now, what they're doing, they're going to fill this gap today, so you can wipe that out, and then the next target would be your gap fill right here at 167, at that 167 area. And look at where we're gapping down to, guys. 167. 167. You can't make this crap up. And so that gap is going to be filled too. And so now, as a trader, what you're doing, you're looking at this range right here, because we know that the objective is to come down here and go after these guys now. And so you're going to wait patiently for this to set up with a strat trade, and then when it confirms the down, you're going to trade this thing back down. That's how you have to start looking at some of this. Amazon. Amazon is putting in this beautiful, beautiful shooter for the month. This one is more or less here for next month. I want to see how this reacts. But look at what we have coming up on the 30th. We have earnings, and this could potentially go 3. This could go 3. Or they could defend this area right here into earnings, and then we could continue with the 2-2-2 continuation up to the month. It can go either way. It can go either way. And that's why you have to keep an open mind. But if you look here on the week, it went 2-2 rev down and gave you this trade. This was a beautiful trade right here. Boom. All right. ANF, Abercrombie and Fitch, 2-2-2. Rev still in force for the month. Let's see if we can get down there. Bank of America, financials are moving well. And it's just a matter of time, in my opinion, before, they run out of gas, but maybe not. Look at this nice consolidation here in Bank of America. Right now we're trying to target this guy right here at 38.75. So you could actually do this, create a target here of 38.75, and that's what that would look like right there. Because we took the monthly one right here. The month here was 38, and you can see that represented right here. And so as long as we hold this, there's a good chance we could get up to 38.75, and then we'll make a decision. Brookdale, this is a new one that I added just because it's a cheaper one, it has decent volume, and also because this has a potential 2.2 rev going into next month, and we have earnings coming up. So we'll watch that one. Costco still has the 2.2 rev. They're defending this one. And if they miss, it could get down here to the 690 area. CPG, another cheaper one that's moving well. Energy stocks are moving. Look at this nice long trend right here. From here to here, that's just an amazing run. For some of the people I've worked with, you've implemented the 2x10 crossover, and look at this. Had you taken this trade right here and you had the mindset, I'm not getting out of this trade until it recrosses, you would have been all the way up here before it got you out or took you out. But I love this because on the week it had this beautiful 2.2 rev, and now it looks like it still wants to go higher to this 906. Keep an eye on that one. Expedia has this 312, still has to get outside the 3. Fiserv reported earnings right here. They gapped, and now they're crap. Been all the way down. We'll see if this actually goes back into force for the 2.2 rev. And guess what? If you are looking to trade this one, 148.19 would trigger you back down into that 2.2 rev. So keep that in mind. Guess I'll do it this way. My keyboard doesn't seem to be working, but my mouse is. Very odd. 148.19. Cordless technology. You love it, you hate it. Most days I just hate it. Alright, let's keep going here. Fortinet, same thing. 213. Got to get outside this bar. GoDaddy, I am just waiting patiently for this one to come back through. And sooner or later, this one will come back through. I promise. So until then, just wait. We have earnings. 5.2. GE, same with this one. Wait patiently. They're going to get this one so extended that sooner or later this thing is going to come crashing right back through. You can see how they tried to take it down here in the earnings, and then they moved it right back up. So let's watch that one. IBM we already talked about. Levi is a long position that I took in my retirement account. It's moving well. I love how it reported here. It pulled back and then it ran right back up. I think as long as we hold this area, we're going to continue to see higher prices. Meta, this is the one that just got annihilated last night, down 15%. Look at this price action on the daily. Just look with your eyes. This price action went absolutely nowhere from the last time they reported to where they reported yesterday. And you can see that represented here on the month. Look at how they set this one up. 2, 2. And then the trigger down here was 476. And look at what they're going to hit today. They're going to take this all the way down. Hopefully the target, which should be 393.05. 393.05. Right there. Bam. You're going to fill this gap and just punish the people who went long. They do that a lot. Micron is setting up beautifully for the 2.2 rev for next week. We have Net 212, Nutanix 2.2 rev, NVIDIA 2.2 rev. We're going to see if this one triggers back down below 794.35, and if it does, we could actually get down here before earnings. Wouldn't shock me one bit. We'll see what happens. Otis is a new one that I added because we had a 2.2 rev in force right here. at 93.99. Let's see if I have that in place. And as long as this is below 93.99, I know that my target here is 87.57. So I will go ahead and put a target. Doesn't mean we'll get there today, guys, because we still have, what, 3 days left. The chances of that not you're getting there, I don't know, but we reported earnings the other day and it was pretty bad. PAA, this is still a trade to the long side because we have full time frame continuity. PAGP, same thing, full time frame continuity. PNC, this one is trying to go 3 for the month, and we have this nice move on the daily and the 322 reversal in force. Pure Storage put it in a 3 yesterday. If this one triggers, I will look to try to get this thing back down to here. Rocket, same thing. We triggered 22 rev and we haven't been strong enough to get down here to the 1087. Maybe today is the day. We will see. Silver is just doing nothing. It gapped down and now we're just kind of consolidating right here. I am short silver, a few shares. Sono, same thing, 22 rev on the month. SQ 222 reversal on the month. SU has full time frame continuity to the upside. This is a great trade right here. If it breaks this area right here, get your butt back into this trade because we could get back up to this area right here. Trip is still in force to the downside for the month. Tesla reported earnings and got buyers right here, but if we take out today's low, I will look to go short because the big picture tells me that this is still in a sell mode. United Airlines, same thing with this one. It's all over the board. Kind of an extended run here after earnings. We've got this nice 3-bar for the month, but look at what we're setting up here for next week. 3-2 possible reversal. If they want to take this higher, they're going to have to buy this thing up today or tomorrow because they're running out of time. Uber is still in force to the downside here to our target of 65.59. Western Digital putting in this beautiful shooter here. We do have earnings after today, after the market closes today, so this will be a good one to watch. And then Walmart, we have this potential 22 rev. Never really went in force. I kind of got ahead of the trade on this one, but we'll see what happens. I could be right, I could be wrong. We don't know, but I do like it for a possible reversal here and back down to this 58.20. That's all I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you have any questions, please comment. If you're on Twitter, add me to your Twitter, and I would be more than happy to answer questions or review anything that you would like me to. But until then, trade them well, and God bless.